Vallabha Girivardhari. Loud. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Vallabha Girivardhari. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories of the assembled devotees. All glories of the assembled devotees. All glories of the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sixth Canto, Prescribed Duties for Mankind, Chapter 5, Narada Muni cursed by Prajapati Daksha, Text 21. Iti Vyavisita Rajan Haryashva Ekachetasaha Prayayus Tam Padikramya Pantanam Anivartanam Iti Vyavasita Rajan Haryashva Ekachetasaha Prayayustam Parikramya Pantanam Anivartanam Iti Vyavasita Rajan Haryashva Ekachetasaha Prayayustam Parikramya Pantanam Anivartanam Iti Vyavasita Rajan Haryashva Ekachetasaha Prayayustam Parikramya Pantanam Anivartanam
ekacetasaha Prayustam parikramya Pantanam anivartanam Iti vyavasita rajan Hariyashva ekacetasaha Prayustam parikramya
Iti vyavasita rajan Haryashva ekacetasaha Prayustam parikramya Pantanam anivartanam
Iti, thus, vyavasitaha, being fully convinced by the instructions of Narada Muni. Rajan, O king, Haryashvaha, the sons of Prajapati Daksha, Ekacetasaha, all being of the same opinion. Prayayuhu, left. Tam Narada Muni, Parikramya, circumambulating. Pantanam, on the path. Anivartanam, which does not bring one back again to this material world. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shukadeva Goswami continued, My dear king, after hearing the instructions of Narada, the Haryashvas, the sons of Prajapati Daksha, were firmly convinced. They all believed in his instructions and reached the same conclusion. Having accepted him as their spiritual master, they circumambulated that great sage and followed the path by which one never returns to this material world, to this world. Purport. From this verse, we can understand the meaning of initiation and the duties of a disciple and spiritual master. The spiritual master never instructs his disciple. Quote, take a mantra from me, pay me some money, and by practicing this yoga system, you will become very expert in materialistic life. Unquote. Did anyone ever do that, pay for a mantra? You did? Joseph? Wow. Oh, okay.
Not here.
Not here? How much did you pay? Anyways, you know.
3 months.
Okay. This is not the duty of a spiritual master. Rather, the spiritual master teaches the disciple how to give up materialistic life, and the disciple's duty is to assimilate his instructions and ultimately follow the path back home, back to Godhead, from whence no one returns to this material world. After hearing the instructions of Narada Muni, the Haryashvas, the sons of Prajapati Daksha, decided not to be entangled in materialistic life by begetting hundreds of children and having to take care of them. This would have been unnecessarily entangling. The Haryashvas did not consider pious or impious activities. Their materialistic father had instructed them to increase the population, but because of the words of Narada Muni, they could not heed that instruction. Narada Muni, as their spiritual master, gave them the Shastric instructions that they should give up this material world, and as bona fide disciples, they followed his instructions. One should not endeavor to wander to different planetary systems within this universe, for even if one goes to the topmost planetary system, Brahmaloka, one must return again. kṣīṇe puṇye martya-lokaṁ viśanti. The endeavors of karmis are a useless waste of time. One should endeavor to return home back to Godhead. This is the perfection of life. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 8:16, Brahma Bhuvanaloka Punar Arvatuna Arjuna Mam Upeta Tukonteya Punar Janma Navidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. I don't know, this thing seems really loud. Is it really loud? I don't know, it seems loud. I don't know. What is everybody?
I like being able to hear you.
Okay, translation again. Shukadeva Goswami continued, "My dear king, after hearing the instructions of Narada, the Haryashvas, the sons of Prajapati Daksha, were firmly convinced. They all believed in his instructions and reached the same conclusion. Having accepted him as their spiritual master, they circumambulated that great sage and followed the path by which one never returns to this world." So, Bhajanarayan Swami, he usually gives this talk this morning. Obviously, all of you know that, but he's traveling. He should be back at the end of March, so some more time. In his absence, Amogalila Prabhu has been giving the talks, but he asked me this morning, about an hour and a half ago or so, to give me the talk because he couldn't do it. So I'm sorry you have to see me here again because I was here yesterday, but anyways, you could blame Amogalila. So, spiritual master, we're hearing more about the spiritual master and the disciple, bona fide spiritual master and disciple. And Prabhupada, I mean, part of teaching is, right, compare and contrast, or there's some contrast there. So much of the time, Srila Prabhupada may talk about an inauthentic spiritual master, which gives us an idea of what an authentic spiritual master is. So he's mentioning an inauthentic spiritual master. Take some mantra, but pay me some money, and by practicing this, you'll become very expert in your materialistic life. So he's saying that the inauthentic spiritual master, they'll just pay me, and I'm not going to really teach you how to extricate yourself or how to become liberated from material suffering and anxiety and illusion, but I'm just going to take your money. And then you'll feel like you're making advancement. There's many groups like this, which is kind of difficult for the people who don't have much money. What do you do if you don't have much money? Beg, borrow, steal, yeah. Laulium. Greed. What do you do if you don't have much money? Certain religions, or I don't know if you want to call them religions, but certain groups, you actually, to make further progress up the ladder, like you have to pay large sums of money. Large, like thousands of dollars, thousands. Sometimes devotees, they say, should we charge $30 for a course? I mean, these people are charging, $10,000, something like that, for a course. So, anyways. So, the spiritual master teaches the disciple how to give a materialistic life, and the disciple's duty is to assimilate his instructions. So the Haryashvas, upon hearing Narada Muni, they were convinced that, okay, I should give up materialistic life. I shouldn't become entangled, and I shouldn't become entangled in materialistic life. Specifically, Srila Prabhupada mentions here in the purport, not to be entangled in materialistic life by begetting hundreds of children and having to take care of them. So, sometimes people say, oh, you get entangled by having one child, right? You become attached, you become whatever, a lot of time and energy. But they were going to have hundreds of children. I mean, you can imagine the possibility of becoming attached, right? Hundreds of children. Family life. So these Haryashvas, they decided, I'm not getting involved. We're just going to, pretty much take sannyas. That's it. We're not getting involved. Despite what their father was wanting them to do. So their father was wanting them to have hundreds of children. And So as followers of Srila Prabhupada, we're also, every day we have a choice. Or every moment we have a choice. Do I want to do something that is pleasing to Krishna? Do I want to do something that's pleasing to my spiritual master? Or do I want to do something that's not pleasing to them, not pleasing to Krishna, not pleasing to my spiritual master? So much of, giving up material desires or advancing in Krishna consciousness means to just put the selfishness to the side, just forget about it, and to act for the welfare of others, to serve others. It's a very important principle. We should see our lives as lives of yajna, of sacrifice. We're sacrificing our time, we're sacrificing our energy, our bodies, everything for the service of Krishna, for the service of devotees. And people are doing that, everyone's doing that. People are sacrificing their lives for their own sense gratification, right? People are sacrificing their lives to feed the poor. People are sacrificing their lives to save the wells. People are sacrificing their lives to spread veganism. People are sacrificing their lives to help, support the children, save the children. People are sacrificing their lives to help with natural disasters like in Turkey, right, other places. Everybody's sacrificing their lives in different modes of material nature. So we should at least consider that, okay, I have a choice how to spend my energy. So let me spend it in a way that is most beneficial. And as Srila Prabhupada says, the endeavors of karmis are useless waste of time. So today is Shiva Ratri. Now, generally Vaishnavas, we don't celebrate this, actually, this festival, Shiva Ratri. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that those who worship the demigods are considered to be less intelligent. And generally those who are worshiping the demigods are doing so for material benefits. They want some selfish goal. There's some selfish goal they're trying to attain. Therefore they worship different demigods. So whereas Vaishnavas, we just worship Krishna. And a lot of the times, again, Vaishnavas generally don't worship. And one reason is that people may get the wrong idea. A lot of what devotees do in their lives is to teach people, right, what to do, what not to do. And they teach by example. So if we're worshiping Lord Shiva, people may get the wrong idea. In other words, they see us worshiping Lord Shiva, so they say, oh, I'll worship Lord Shiva too, for material benefit. Because that's the general tendency, right? Ashutosh, very easily please Lord Shiva. Means he'll give material things. Of course, he's also Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, and he plays a very important role in the Vaishnav world, because he's considered to be Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, the greatest Vaishnava. So devotees may worship him as a devotee, as a pure devotee of Krishna, to get the blessings of Krishna. Just like Gopeshwar Mahadev, he's the protector of the Dham, right? Vrindavan. So Gopeshwar Mahadev, Gopi, right? Gopeshwar Mahadev. So this is the form of Lord Shiva as a gopi. So, okay, what's going on there, right? Was Shiva as a gopi? So apparently Shiva had some desire to see the Rasa Leela dance. Krishna dancing with the cowherd girls. But the principle is that he's the only Purusha, only male, right, in the party. So if you want to enter the rasa dance, then you have to. There has to be a gopi form there. So then, so what happened is his desire was there. Then one devotee, one gopi said, "Okay, well, you go bathe in that kund, and then once you come out, you'll be able to enter rasa lila." So he did that, and he came out and he had a gopi form. Don't get any ideas. He came out. It can't be imitated, okay? But he came out. He had a gopi form. So, people think it's amazing how easy people think it is to reach the gopi platform. It's really bad, actually. People's lack of education in this regard, but they think it's so easy. But anyway, so he came out and he was a gopi, right? Now, therefore, he could enter the rasa lila. So, rasa lila is going on. Krishna's dancing with all the gopis. They're dancing, and it says that the dance lasted a very long time. Anyone know how long? The rasa lila dance? Yeah, Night of Brahma. It's a long, right? But they felt like it went by really quick. So while they're all dancing, Krishna, he stopped the dance and he said, it seems like there's something different. Something's not exactly right. Just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while he was dancing in Srivasangam, because only the devotees allowed in Srivasangam were the devotees on the topmost level of pure devotion. So, a lot of people weren't allowed. There's only a few. So they're all dancing, and in Srivasangam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, and then Lord Chaitanya stopped the dance, and he said, "There's something wrong here. It seems like someone shouldn't be here, who's not supposed to be here." And then Srivas Thakur said, "Yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually there's one brahmachari here." And you know what the greatness of this brahmachari was? He only drank milk. He subsisted off of milk. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Do you think just by subsisting on milk alone you could attain Krishna consciousness?" Anyways, later, as far as I remember, that brahmachari did attain love for Krishna. But anyways, the kirtan was stopped because... So similarly, in the Rasa Lila, kirtan, the dance was stopped. And then there was one gopi that was going around and kind of analyzing the different gopis, and they stopped at one gopi and they looked and they saw that this gopi had like the third eye. This Shiva has a third. It's not like our eyes are like this. His third eye is not like this. It's the other way, actually. So then they asked this gopi. They said, "Who are you? Who are your parents? Where are you coming from?" And they started kind of interrogating a bit. Now, eventually, Lord Shiva, he got to be the protector of that. Means the front gates of that, so to speak, of that dance. So he got the service of protecting. So it was an interesting pastime, Lord Shiva entering Rasa Lila dance. And you see there within Vrindavan, there's a temple where in the evenings they dress Shiva as a gopi. So. So in that way, we can worship Shiva, but not for material benefit. And also, we have to be careful that people don't get the wrong idea. But him being a great known as one of the greatest, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, the greatest Vaishnava. One pastime to illustrate this or demonstrate this is in the 8th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the 8th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is 8th canto, chapter 7, text 36. Yes. So we'll read a few verses. which will demonstrate Lord Shiva's greatness. Srila Shukadev Goswami continued, Lord Shiva is always benevolent toward all living entities. When he saw that the living entities were very much disturbed by the poison which was spreading everywhere, he was very compassionate. Thus he spoke to his eternal consort Sati as follows. So this is, right, the churning of the milk ocean. Anyways, it's a detailed pastime, but there's the demigods and demon churning, and poison was coming out. So all the living entities were feeling disturbed. So Lord Shiva said, my dear Bhavani, just see how all these living entities have been placed in danger because of the poison produced from the churning of the ocean of milk. It is my duty to give protection and safety to all living entities struggling for existence. Certainly it is the duty of the Master to protect his suffering dependents. People in general, being bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are always engaged in animosity toward one another. But devotees, even at the risk of their own temporary lives, try to save them. Purport. This is the characteristic of a Vaishnava, paradukha dukhi. A Vaishnava is always unhappy to see the conditioned souls unhappy. Otherwise, he would have no business teaching them how to become happy. In materialistic life, people must certainly engage in activities of animosity. Materialistic life is therefore compared to samsara davanala, a blazing forest fire that automatically takes place. Lord Shiva and his followers in the Parampara system try to save people from this dangerous condition of materialistic life. This is the duty of devotees following the principles of Lord Shiva and belonging to the Rudra Sampradaya. There are 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, and the Rudra Sampradaya is one of them because Lord Shiva is the best of the Vaishnavas. Indeed, as we shall see, Lord Shiva drank all the poison for the benefit of humanity. So it continues, and he says, let me drink this poison. Let me drink this poison for all the living entities may thus become happy because of me. It's interesting that in the next verse it says, Bhavani, who, Lord Shiva's wife, who knew perfectly well the capabilities of Lord Shiva, gave him her permission to do so. Think about permission. Why does Lord Shiva need permission? Even Shiva's apparently communicating closely with his wife. Anyways, maybe something to learn there from. Thereafter, Lord Shiva, who is dedicated to auspicious, benevolent work for humanity, compassionately took the whole quantity of poison in his palm and drank it. Therefore, he's known as, you know the name? Nilakant. And then, it's a very amazing verse here. This is text 44. It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. So it's an amazing verse because the verse is stating that almost always great souls, they take on voluntary suffering. Like many of our acharyas, they take voluntary suffering for the benefit of people in general. Lord Shiva here and others. And this is the highest method of worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and of course, within the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the importance of trying to help the conditioned souls, help spread Krishna consciousness, because as it's being stated throughout this verse, Kim asat karma bir bhavet, right? It's been stated numerous times. This is the last refrain, you could say, of the verse within these chapters of the 6th canto, chapter 21. Which, what is the benefit of use of temporary fruitive activities? So the conditioned souls are thinking there's so much benefit in temporary fruitive activities. That's like what they live for. They can't live without it. But devotees, they're thinking that. But devotees know that what's the use of all this? It's a waste of time. And aside from it being a waste of time, these people are suffering. So as this particular verse is, and also in this purport we read today in the 6th canto, from the highest planet, you may go to the highest planet, lowest planet. It's a place of misery. It's a temporary place full of misery. So the conditioned souls don't know that, and therefore great souls almost always accept voluntary suffering to help them, to break their illusion. So it's a day of Lord Shiva, so we could worship him as the greatest Vaishnava and ask his blessings to help us reawaken our Krishna consciousness. And then tonight we'll also have a talk by Narantara Prabhu. I believe he's speaking on the glories of Lord Shiva, so I'm sure there'll be a lot more details. This is just very kind of something to think about. So does anybody have any questions or comment? Yes, Joseph.
This poison that he drank,
yes.
What does that relate to today?
Oh, you want to know what that relates to, huh? Oh, you have an idea? What's your idea? Huh? Well, I mean, since you asked, it says text 42 in the purport, although there was such a great quantity of poison that is spread all over the universe, Lord Shiva had such great power that he reduced the poison to a small quantity so that he could hold it in his palm. One should not try to imitate Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva can do whatever he likes. But those who try to imitate Lord Shiva by smoking ganja and other poisonous things will certainly be killed because of such activities. So sometimes the followers of Lord Shiva, the Babas in India, they think, okay, well, Lord Shiva took some poison, so now I'll smoke ganja. Somehow there's some relation there. Yeah. But, I mean, whatever somebody's particular habits are, you could say non-Krishna conscious habits, whatever those habits are, specifically in this case, ganja, right? I mean, when we were a kid, it was illegal. Now it's legal. I was saying in the lounge that everything's practically legal. Not everything, but as living entities, we are seekers of pleasure. So we'll seek that from ganja, we'll seek that from this, from going to the casino, from so many things. Everything we're doing, we're just seeking pleasure. So just because somebody has particular, you could say, habits, whatever, they smoke ganja, they go to the casino, whatever, doesn't mean that they can't chant Hare Krishna. Actually, they should chant Hare Krishna. Why? Because over time, those other desires will become less and less and less, and they'll think, oh, I don't need to do this at all. What am I going to the casino for? It's a waste of time, waste of money. What am I smoking ganja for? Waste of money, whatever. So whatever it is, they'll think, oh, I don't need it. Not that they think, oh, well, I'm smoking, I'm going to the casino, I shouldn't chant. No, they should chant. And but we should also try to understand philosophically that, again, whatever we're doing is for happiness. So Krishna consciousness is the highest happiness. So it will replace all those things. Do you have? Yeah, I have a question.
Is this his appearance day? Is that what this means?
Shiva Ratri, night of Shiva. No. Okay.
So it's not his appearance day, but it's a night of him?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
And then, so in the purport it was talking about even from the topmost planet, we still have to come down. But there's that special exception where, like, if Brahma trains you, you can jump to the spiritual world right from there, but I heard it's very rare and risky to bank on being able to do that. But can you talk about that exception? Because they're saying most everyone who goes there has to come back down.
Well,
you can get personal training from him.
I mean, it's this particular verse is saying that
Is it all places?
highest, lowest, all places of miseries wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So whether you're in Brahmaloka or this lok or that lok, right, you can elevate yourself, or you can be elevated by the spiritual, by following the instructions of a spiritual master. So, but yeah, sometimes if Brahma's there and others, devotees are there and they're all practicing, yeah, they could also go. But the general thing is not to, because the tendency of the living entity is always kind of put it off. Like I was hearing one devotee recently, and he was saying how people say, yeah, I'll do it someday. I'll do it someday. But he was saying, no, don't say someday. That someday is not in the weekly days. There's no someday. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, not someday. So he was saying you have to pick a day and do it. It's a good point. Or my friend would always tell me, my old friend Madhu Mangal Prabhu, who's living here many years ago from South Africa, Brahmachari. I was always amazed. He would approach these people on book distribution, and I mean, it was amazing because it would be people that you would never think would ever take a book, like ever. And he would approach them, and he wouldn't even show them the book. He would just talk with them for like 5-10 minutes. Hey, how are you? And where are you from? And what's going on? And what's your family? And, you know, on and on and on and on, right? And eventually he would introduce the book, and he would sell it to him, and he'd give him a big hug, and he'd take a picture. Anyways, but Madhu Mangal, he used to say, very interesting way of distributing books, but he used to say, procrastination is a thief of time. Because by procrastinating, your time is, the time that you've procrastinated to do something, you're putting something off, that procrastination is stealing the time. Means so much could have got done within that frame of time, but procrastination just stole it. So anyways, I always thought about that. It's good. So we have a tendency just to, someday. But we should just try to make progress every day. We should try to, not put it off. I'll do it when I'm in Brahmaloka or whatever. You know? Yes.
I can answer Tyler's question, then I have a little. So in the purport to that verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Tyler, it says that one can achieve Brahmaloka by Chandogya Upanishad, but if on Brahmaloka one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to earth. But then there's a verse quoted from, it doesn't say where here, I think, but we figured that out. Sridhar Swami.
Probably Padma Purana.
Brahmana sahate sarve. When there is devastation of this material universe, and this is Brahma and those who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness on Brahmaloka are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. But there are others who don't even progress on Brahmaloka to that point, and they have to come back down. So it's not that everybody on Brahmaloka goes back up. And even Brahma doesn't go back. All the Brahmas. In the 9th canto, Prabhupada revealed that when we fall from the spiritual world, the first birth we take is Brahma. But if all the Brahmas went back to God, it'd be no material world. You see? Which is like a mind blower, because every living entity here was once Brahma. That's a long time. We live for 450 billion years or whatever it is. But I wanted, if you would allow me, I'd like to share one verse from the Song of Shiva in the 4th canto, where Shiva is showing his 100% Vaishnava qualities. And that is right here. I remember when I was proofreading this volume back in 73 or 74, and I came across this verse, and this is one of the first verses I memorized. Padashara Padma, he's near the end of his song to the Pachetas. Pachetas also came in the 6th canto. We just read about him. So this is why they were inspired to chant this song for 10,000 years underwater. That was their tapasya. Padasharat Padma Palasha Rochisha Nakadubir Nonto Agam Badundata Padarshi Asvi Mapasta Sadvasam Padangoro Margagurus Tamodisham. This is a prayer to Krishna. My dear Lord Krishna, your 2 lotus feet are so beautiful that they appear like 2 blossoming petals of the lotus flower that grows during the autumn season. Indeed, the nails of your lotus feet emanate such a great effulgence that they immediately dissipate all the darkness in the heart of a conditioned soul. My dear Lord, kindly show me that form of yours, which always dissipates all kinds of darkness in the heart of a devotee. My dear Lord, you are the supreme spiritual master of everyone. Therefore, all conditioned souls covered with the darkness of ignorance can be enlightened by you as a spiritual master. That's why he's the greatest Vaishnava.
He's also... You see pictures of Lord Shiva meditating, and then the question is, okay, well, who's he meditating on? So, Lord Krishna. All right, any last question or comment? All right. Okay, Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.